Welcome to Tower Talk, brought to you by Empire State University. This isn't just a game, it's a conversation starter. 2 students, 1 wobbly tower, and a stack of intriguing questions designed to spark laughter, stories, and connections. Will the tower survive? Let's find out.
Okay, let's see what we got here. You know what? Nope. How about we just do this?
Right off the top.
And we got, what's the most trivial thing you have a strong opinion about?
Yeah, as a home chef and whatever, I say if you want to try something in the kitchen, definitely try it. Like, the worst you could have is a dish that you don't like and you just throw it out. So you start over again. All right, I have, what life lesson have you had to learn again and again?
That it's okay to make a mistake.
Yeah.
That as long as you are learning from that mistake and are willing to either try again or move forward, it is okay, because everybody makes mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can definitely say from personal experiences working as a paramedic who ended up teaching people. Oh, the thing I always taught my students was ask questions. Like, just ask. You can't ask a stupid question, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go. There we go. If you could teach a class at SUNY Empire, what would it be about?
Well, I guess if we're thinking in relation to why I'm here at SUNY Empire to begin with, I'm here for addiction studies from transferring from biochemistry in Minnesota, but originally, like, before all that, I was working as a paramedic while doing biochemistry, so I guess I would look at, like, something between related, like, you know, first response and then, like, I guess, like, yeah, the addiction thing really stood out to me because that's a thing I worked with so much as a paramedic that. And then also being a biochemistry student, I definitely got interested in what I was learning from my professors about, like, the pathology of addiction and the science of it. So I definitely, like, I'm a science person, so I would probably open up a science class about, you know, something like the chemistry of that, or,
Nice.
you know, or even something about, you know, mental health of first responders. Not necessarily a thing you could get credit for, I guess, but just awareness. Because right now I'm doing a project for class, and I feel like I'm constantly writing about the awareness of PTSD in first responders because we have it available in vets, which is a really good model to look at for first responders. It's a great model.
Okay.
But the first responders are such an underserved population, and I know that from being one personally.
Nice.
So,
your turn.
my turn. Well, I think I am going to take the easy one. What are your biggest goals in life?
Well, that one's an interesting one. Originally, my biggest goal in life was to graduate with my bachelor's, which I accomplished. The other one was to, I'm an epileptic and I'm neurodivergent. Mm-hmm. So for me to get 50, that was a big goal. But I think my biggest goals in life is now to be happy, not just satisfied, but happy in my choices.
Yeah. No, I would say I've learned the similar thing through different means.
I'm gonna, like, topple this over. Oh, there we go, look. What makes SUNY Empire different?
Well, for me, it was the fact that you guys were fully online and I actually have vision problems and can't drive very well anymore. Having an open schedule that doesn't require you to be in a location is really good for me because I feel like, okay, I can still continue my studies like I want to, but I'm not bound to a campus.
Right. I think for me, what makes SUNY Empire different is not just the online factor, because a lot of universities are in fact doing online studies and stuff, but it's the fact that SUNY Empire truly is a community. We are a community that seeks to not only empower our students, but our faculty, our administration. We look at how can we continue to strive, not just to do better, but to go further. Yeah. And become more. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that really makes SUNY Empire stand out.
Oh yeah. Imagine your group with 100 random people. If you're better than all of them at something, you win $1 billion. What are you choosing?
Patience with a Bengal cat. And if anybody understands that.
I have a friend who has a I know what you're talking about.
There you go. I win $1 billion.
Yeah.
Oh, got one. What values do you think SUNY Empire embodies?
I would say definitely student empowerment is the first thing that comes to mind.
I agree.
Yeah, because, I mean, I've been for actually most of my college career, which has been sporadic and spread out, I've been a dual enrolled student in a lot of places. So it's always very confused. Like, this is the first time I'm also not a dual enrolled student. So this is a new experience in that regard. But it's nice to see a school that, like, is student forward first, because there were a few things earlier in the semester that I was talking with my advisor about, like having some difficulty with in my personal life. And so, like, we, you know, it was nice to hear her say, like, oh, that's hard to hear. Like, actually, like, the thing I was having trouble with was finding insurance after, like, being off of my mom insurance because I got too old. So, like, struggling for insurance, like, I couldn't really focus on my coursework and stuff at that moment because I was more trying to figure out where am I going to have insurance in the next month or so.
I think for me, one of the biggest values is the fact that where a lot of universities, a lot of higher education facilities say they are DEI, SUNY Empire lives DEI.
DEI being?
Diversity, inclusion, and equity.
Okay.
And we truly are a university that lives and breathes diversity, inclusion, and equity, because you look at a screen, you're not seeing a person's color,
No.
You're not seeing a person's gender, you're not seeing that person's disabilities. So that allows us to be such a wide, eclectic community that comes together, and you're instead listening to what that person has to say and helping them to listen to you.
Yeah.
So I really think for us, one of our biggest values is DEI.
Well, I could definitely say for having ADHD and dyslexia, finally getting diagnosed as an adult. ADHD I've had since I was a kid, but the dyslexia was more of an adult. But it's so nice to, like, be able to, like, in a sense, like, give up that information, kind of like almost puke it up in a sense, to your professor, but have them be like, oh, that's okay. How can we better make this work for you?
Mm-hmm.
So.
And honestly, at the same time, the professors are also learning from us.
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
I know from having taught myself, I definitely learn a lot from my students all the time. So.
Your
My
turn, sir.
All right. Sounds good. Are you a planner or are you a spontaneous type of person?
Is there a medium?
Honestly, my same question too.
Because I think it really depends on the situation, the environment, and everything that goes into it. If I'm a spontaneous person, I was diagnosed as a child with flight or fight syndrome. I grew up in foster care, so that gives you that spontaneity.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there's a lot of times I end up regretting being spontaneous because I didn't have a chance to really think through what I'm going to do. And I'm not talking about what you're going to wear that day. I'm talking about whether or not your choice is going to impact you or your children or your partner, whoever it is. So I think I'm more of a medium between the two.
I would probably agree the same for the same reasons. Like, I mean, I've got my own fair share of stuff, and I definitely do. I'm definitely more one to stand back and make, in a sense, a calculated response. But also, I can be spontaneous in the fact that I'll make a calculated, spontaneous response, and like I'll see something, but I'll adapt to the situation and modify accordingly, in a sense.
Okay.
So.
I thought, there we
I
go.
believe that, yeah, I was going to say, I think the one I pulled earlier was a little higher.
What are you most proud of in terms of your career?
It would probably be holding a paramedic license for 6 years.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
And working through a pandemic too. Like, I worked through COVID and whatever. I actually remember getting the notification that I was deemed an essential worker and that school, in a sense, didn't matter, and having to email my professor saying I might not be able to make it to class anymore because I am now working and it got mandated. So.
Very nice.
But yeah, working through that, it was a learning experience both in terms of practical experience and what I want for my future career education-wise, but also life-wise, because you learn a lot of stuff, and I was a 911 paramedic. You learn a lot on 911 about how people really interact and what the real raw sense of human emotion is when you do a job like that, because I always remember and told my students too, here's the thought that you should always be coming at it with. With 911, you are coming to somebody's worst state of their life. Keep that in mind as you proceed. So.
Your turn.
All right. How do you stay motivated?
That's a funny one because having grown up the way I did in foster care and stuff like that, you would think that, and most people did, they expected me to be not so cheerful, down, constantly depressed, not succeeding. Even in foster care, I would sit there and I convinced myself no matter what the situation, it could always be worse or it could always be better. So I would wake up every morning, no matter what, it doesn't matter if I had a headache or what, and I would smile. If I could smile first thing in the morning, waking up, even when I don't want to get out of bed, I'm still getting out of bed and I'm smiling, then that sets the stage for that day and how I'm going to approach that day. All right, what do we got here? There we go. What role do you see SUNY Empire playing in the future of education?
I definitely see them as being like one of the up-and-coming schools of expanding for online education and diversity inclusion. Originally, I thought I was going to go continue studying chemistry at UAlbany, but then since I fell out of school and my grades got out of whack because I was deemed an essential worker and all that, being an essential worker actually knocked down my GPA so much because I had to drop classes because I didn't have a choice. So I couldn't actually get in there based on the GPA alone is what I found, even though I had every other, in a sense, credential to get there. But that worked out better because I feel like here at SUNY Empire with addiction studies, I'll actually be able to use the things I learned as a paramedic that I really learned to help people
right
in my future without having to, in a sense, put myself at risk for assault on 911 again.
Nice.
So.
Nice. It's your turn.
All right.
And I think we're coming down to the wire. There we go.
All right. What is the most beautiful view you've ever seen?
The birth of my daughter.
It's always a good answer. I don't have children, so I can't say anything in that regard. But like I was telling Steve earlier, as a hobby photographer, I definitely like anytime I get an interesting shot that I don't see that anybody else has. And I only ever really get to see that when I have family members or friends point it out. And actually, I had Stephen point out a few things to me today in some of the pictures that I see all the time that are nice. Like I went to Thatcher Park recently, and sure, I was taking the pictures that, there and whatever, but it's not until after you get to see them that you really get to see what your work was.
You get to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, we knock it down. We do knock it down.
Well, ladies first. Or do you want to knock it
Yeah,
down
ready,
together?
Ready,
Yep,
ready,
set,
one, two,
go.
go. That was fun.